Headphones Required is an album made by We're Not French, a indie music maker that hasn't seemed to have gotten very much recognition, but because one of the artists on this album is my friend, and he released this album a little over, a year and a half ago? I decided to finally take it for a spin and listen to it. And I guess we'll jump straight into the tracks at this point, because there's really no better way to explain this album than just to have you hear the music itself. There's no really explaining it. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those albums. What the fuck? I guess I have to talk about each individual track now, don't I? I don't know, let's go over this already. Well, the first track, the opener, that made me very intrigued, as if this was some sort of experiment. Like, I didn't know what to expect. It felt like some obscure vaporwave album that I was going to be listening to be quite honest. With a female MLG voice.
Welcome, you have been chosen to participate in an auditorial experiment.
And the fasten your seatbelts. It's almost, it gave me a very vaporwavy feel about the album, but I guess I was steered wrong pretty fast. And I was originally inclined to believe that this was going to be a vaporwavy style, considering that the first real track, other than the opener, was Mistakes Were Made. It had a very simple, ambient feel to it, a very vaporwavy feel to it, at least. And though not a traditional form of doing this sort of music, the second track kind of kept that vaporwave feel to it. The second track, Destined to Be Something, it wasn't very normal, but for vaporwave, but it still had that kind of feel to it, except for the grinding intro that actually is the cat sound effect from Cave Story. The unused cat sound effect from Cave Story at a really low pitch. But I wasn't just gonna pass off the album on these two tracks. And then we run into EBOLA. This is just a rather boring track, I'm gonna put it plainly. It was just kind of a EBOLA, 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 EBOLA. And that was kind of it. That's really all I can gather from the track.
EBOLA. 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 EBOLA.
And then this little fuck. Is this even music? Why? At 3 minutes, I was like officially freaking creeped out and about ready to completely just shut this whole thing off. And I'm not even joking. I felt plenty of emotion through music, but scared? No, scared doesn't even justify how I felt. I was so unsettled by this, and it was just something so I was not ready to process that my brain went into a fight or flight situation, and it really wanted to fly away. And I don't, oh god, this album. Roar wasn't much better either. It just kind of dragged on the eerie feeling I had from the rest of the last track, which I really didn't need. And also, yes, just pointless, boring filler with some tiger roars over some industrial music. And then we get into Cuttin' Kids is Fun as the next track. And this one actually, hey, wait a second. These synths, these sound familiar. Wait, I knew I've heard these synths somewhere before. Great, you just mashed Medeon's song. Nice. And threw a frickin' 30-second in there for no reason. And then the next song, Giorgio by Motorola, is just some freaking parody of something, and I couldn't actually care enough to go and figure it out because. Also, I swear the guy who did the voiceover, and this sounds just like the guy I found at the end of the voiceover, this Devon guy. It just at a lower pitch, like, I swear. Now, Matt Zombie, I don't actually remember a lot about this track. All I remember is that I was still frustrated from all the other tracks from the bees in elevators at this point, that this track just ticked me off that much more listening to it. Like, Please stop. Now, actually, a surprising, Two Strikes, Bases Loaded. This is actually, a song I don't hate, surprisingly enough. Like, I understand how it's supposed to be a parody of EDM and how basic it is, and it's just trying to point out all the flaws in EDM. Yes, this has been done before. Yes, it's been done better, but I will commend you guys for trying, because you actually tried to do something in this track instead of pointless nonsense and blatant ripoffs. I said this before, but please stop. Okay, so great. A MIDI cover of Skrillex with some clips from SpongeBob and Star Wars, and mentions of Skrillex. So what? Oh, hey, look, a original song, and it's kind of nice and kind of dreamy. I like where this is going, actually. Oh, okay. Okay, this isn't so bad. Well, actually, to be completely honest, at this point in the album, I was so confused and distraught by everything else. This was the most peaceful thing I had ran into. Like, I'm not... Like, I'm very used to very quick tempo changes and genre changes, because my album's, like, on shuffle all the time and filled with, like, completely freaking random music. Like, I listen to borderline screamo and, like, almost comparable to, like, little kid music, like, that calm. But, so, this didn't really annoy me like it was probably supposed to. This was actually, to me personally, a breather from all the useless other crap that I had run into in the album. So, yeah, that's really all I have to say about this track. Forgettable Filler is by far my favorite song in the album, because it's actually a song for once. It's not bad. It's actually pretty good. I like the drum progression. It's very simple, and even though you made a song 5 freaking tracks ago that insulted the very song you're trying to make here, I still definitely appreciate it. Or either that, or I've been numb to the point where even this most basic form of music is something that, oh, it's so nice after hearing this. Because, you know, the smell of, like, body odor isn't that bad after you've been sifting through pig sewage, you know? I can't understand a word this guy's saying, except for he keeps saying Martina. Martina! Also, it's not horrible, but it's by no way good. No, this is not how you make vaporwave. You can't even frickin' make out the lyrics. Why? This is just slowed down. This isn't even any drums added or anything. This is just making fun of vaporwave. Ah! Oh yeah, let's be creepy and edgy and make an unlisted video on our YouTube that people just will run into when they click on the album and start listening to it all. Let's throw in some random dial tones, let's throw in some backwards words, and also that growl that we used in an earlier track. Oh yeah, and we better not throw it on the SoundCloud, so this is exclusive and it feels really creepy. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if this was just purely a slowed down piece, but you actually did it right, and the background footage isn't complete cancer, like I thought it was gonna be when you got around to the music videos, so... It's okay? I mean, it helped me cope with all the crap I was going through with the whole rest of the thing, so... As much as I want to throw a criticism on this Ballad of the Machine, like, yeah, it's a sad machine, and it's a piano cover, and yeah, okay, you're a good piano player. I wish I could play piano like that. But, I mean, yeah, haha, you copied Silva Gunner, you threw All-Star in there, that's so funny, haha, that joke hasn't been done before, haha. But actually, I really didn't care. Like, I know I'm a mean boy and stuff, and I'm supposed to find it funny, but I'm also supposed to be like a critic in criticizing this, but I'm just gonna let this slide. It actually came off as somewhat original in this case. But you only get this once. More slowdown and confusion and stuff. Also, end of album.
You may now take off your headphones.
So God help me, I actually made it to the end. It's like Headphones Requires tries to not be music at the same time as presenting itself as a musical album. It's kind of trying to be like oxymoron at best. It's trying to make music completely go out of sync. It's like it's trying to frustrate you. And what this accomplishes, well, I'm not really sure, because I did definitely go through a bunch of stages of emotions while listening to this. So if that's what the piece is trying to accomplish, it certainly did it. It made me frustrated, it made me scared, it made me intrigued, and it made me relieved. All at different stages of the album. It made me intrigued at the beginning from the opener. It made me confused by the first 3 songs. By the 4th song, I was kind of scared of the album at this point. But as things went on, I kind of got droned out to this, to where I finally, when they introduced a real song later on, I felt kind of content. And then as the music quality got worse and worse again, as we started to get toward the end, I started to get despaired. Before finally getting to the last 2 songs, where I actually felt kind of good listening to these compared to listening to all the rest of them. And then I finally felt content listening to the last song, because I finally made it to the end of the album. That's really the best thing I can say about this, because it was just an experience. Like, I hate this album. Like, I freaking hate this album. Like, I listen to kind of weird and obscure music, but this is something completely different. But as much as I hate this album, I'm so totally glad it exists. I'm glad it exists, actually. So, I guess I have to say, thanks, We're Not French, for making this experience. I will never recommend this to anyone unless they are high and want a weird feels trip. And, yeah, I guess that's really all I have to say about the album. Blink out.